Are you yes? Like, coba saya biasa. Ada Arabic. Bahasa Arab. Sudah mulai. Wow.
It's translated into Malay.
Ah, sorry. So the Malay suffering. Yeah. You get anything new helps in the pressure. It's very perception. Like English is negative.
So much work to do.
No. Okay. Bismillah. We're going to go back to the chapter about Al-Buriyah. I don't think that's the last chapter. After that, start sharing. We have to close my television. The last sharing, we were at الزهراء عليه السلام وذريته المباركة. So as I mentioned, Alhamdulillah, we actually had more time than we realize, mashallah. And it's really Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala extends time when time is used for him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's how we know now. And was it?
You only have 15 minutes.
Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Now, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He extends our time. We spend our time on Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that is basically the meaning of barakah. And we are entering into a chapter topic about barakah. And here, the one that is being given the title of barakah, or the traits of barakah in the Tawhid. The descendants of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra. Are you okay?
That's right.
No?
It's not me.
No. No, okay, it's okay.
No, we try.
Just use the normal one. Okay. You were just what from
Eh,
reading words.
that's fine.
الحمد لله الحمد لله بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين الحمد لله الحمد لله Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has gathered us again in this blessed gathering, this blessed house of Az-Zahra. Alhamdulillah, we have never thought, we've never imagined we have another Zahra, even if it's for 3 days. It's for 3 days of the Zahra right here in the land of Singapore. MashaAllah, it was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can give us 3 years of the Zahra. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us 3 months of the Zahra in Singapore. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us 3 years of the Zahra in Singapore. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unifying situation of Zahra in Singapore is up to Him subhanahu wa ta'ala. هو كريم هو كريم وقادر على كل شيء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is generous and He is powerful over everything. No one can say never. No one can say it's not possible in Singapore. No one can say it is mustahil. Right? It is impossible to establish something of this nature. Right, in this land of Singapore, mashallah. And inshallah, the fire, the goodness that has come into this land and the topic of Sayyidina Fatima Zahra that has come into this land. Alhamdulillah, inshallah, it was spread right to the people to our people and to their hearts. And that is what will bring the most pleasure, the most happiness to the heart of our Prophet, the beloved Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And it will please our mother, Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, that more and more and more women know about her. And the women of our time desperately need to know about her. It is a desperate situation whereby if not knowing what Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra and not holding on to her way, it will spell destruction. Literally, it will spell destruction towards the end of times as things get worse and worse as we move closer to the time of the fitna, the time of the Dajjal. We're already in the time of the Dajjal, and the only way out, the only way out in the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam as he himself has told us. And today we're coming into the topic of the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Zuriyah al-Mubarakah, right? The blessed family or the blessed descendants of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra. And to understand the word barakah, we've been saying this over and again. What is barakah? And then we will say in this entire dawrah, over and over again. علينا الحركة وعلى الله البركة. It is for us to move, to take action, to try. It is in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless and to complete and to expand and to accept and to reward subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we علينا الحركة وعلى الله البركة. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you blessings. And so in the previous chapter we took of the wedding of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra radiallahu anha wa ardaha wa alayhi salam wa ala nabiyina أفضل الصلاة والتسليم. And we are taking the previous chapter about how Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra was wed by Sayyidina Ali karamallahu wajha. And from this, and the wedding of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra and Sayyidina Ali, it was not random, but specifically instructed by the creator of the heavens and the earth, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And even though Sayyidina Ali was not of the richest of the companions, right, there were way richer companions, besides Sayyidina Ali, and they were righteous men as well. They were righteous and they were rich. Amongst the great companions in Abdul Rahman bin Awf and Umar and Abu Bakr and so on, they were of the great companions of Rasulullah. All of them were penned down nicely by the Prophet the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and until they all urged Sayyidina Ali to go ahead and make his proposal to Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, which was accepted by Rasulullah. And I would urge for those of you who have not yet bless your eyes to read the khutbah of the nikah between Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra and Sayyidina Ali. If you have not blessed your eyes, go and read what was said by Nabi Muhammad in the majlis of the khutbah, or in the majlis of the nikah, the khutbah of nikah, the speech and the nikah of Sayyidina Fatima and Sayyidina Ali. If your eyes has not been placed by the words of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu anhu, akramallahu wajha, when he accepted when he accepted what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said in the majlis of the nikah, then go and find out. It is not in this poem specifically, but you can find out in Abdul Lutf. It is there. And many of in fact, almost every of the stories in Fatima Zahra, this khutbah will be quoted and mentioned. So I urge that you go to the khutbah and that you go and read it for yourselves, and that you experience it, and that you would feel these deep meanings coming to you. And with the unification of Sayyidina Fatima and Sayyidina Ali, the unifying between them coming together, comes the beautiful fruits and the beautiful flowers and the beautiful zuriyah, the descendants of the Prophet ﷺ. As you mentioned this morning, the other meaning of Abiha, as some of the ulama have mentioned, is that she is the mother of the descendants of the Prophet ﷺ. Abiha, the mother of the descendants of the Prophet ﷺ, and she is alayhi salam. Right, so the first people that we're going to see here of the blessed lineage of the blessed descendancy of Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra. I saw her, Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra. So she, mashallah, so the poetry begins by speaking about Sayyidina al-Hasan. And early this morning we spoke about Sayyidina al-Hasan and how he was, resembling Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we also spoke about about the prophecies that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave with regard to Sayyidina al-Hasan. Together, while mentioning about Sayyidina Uthman, we mentioned Sayyidina al-Hasan. And here again, that's what we're doing. We are following the path of Habib al-Adhan, that when he reads all these texts, right, it's not simply reading into the stories of the past, no, but it is to look at things in retrospect. And what does that mean? To look into the past with the glass or with the eye of the future. You're going to look into the past with the eye of the future, and to look into what has happened then, and to pull out the principles of what has happened then to apply into our time. And that is one of the signs of the end of time. When Habib al-Adani, may Allah have mercy on his soul and raise him in levels in darajat, in Jannah, and place him the rest of guys. May Allah reward him greatly on our behalf. Jazallahu anna خير الجزاء. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward him greatly on our behalf. Right, and so to look into this history, right, not from the view of just interest, or just know these people, but to look into what has happened with them and how the Prophet ﷺ, has interacted with them, and then to take that and to see how this comes and extends into our lifetime, and we know it will extend, and we know it has extended, and because the Prophet ﷺ himself has said to hold on to the Book of Allah and his family or Itrati, and his family. And so that he said to hold on to his family means necessarily his family must continue. His family must continue. And we know of it, and it's coming up, 10th of Muharram, and Karbala, 10th of Muharram is coming up, Karbala. So while we are Sunni here, and we're holding on to the, the way of the Sunnis, right, in that we have our own understandings, right, that sometimes as Sunnis, we deny ourselves of the reflection and the love and the attachment and the sorrow and the grief that has happened to the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, out of saying, oh, there is something the Shia do and not the Sunni. Right? So sometimes we do that, we tend to do that. Right? And we lose out. And we lose out on crying when we were hurt. We lose out on rejoicing when they were when they rejoice. We lose out on attaching our hearts to them. And Wasala has a very good article by Habib Ali Jifri, on the Sunni approach at the Karbala, and to understand what happened in this very grievous and very dark part of the history of Islam with Zayn al-Hussein. Right? And here that we see Zayn al-Hussein and what he did and what happened to him, in this very grievous part of Islamic history. First, he mentioned earlier this morning that it was foretold by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and it was a prophecy by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But what happened in this particular incident of the Karbala, and I want to go into here a little bit about business about this as well, because again of the relevance to our time. So what happened in this incident of the Karbala, right, was the massacre of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a complete massacre of the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, with the exception of one man, and that is Sayyidina Ali Zain al-Abidin. Sayyidina Ali Zain al-Abidin was the only one who was spared, right, in that incident of the Karbala, where even the babies, even the boys, the male amongst the babies were not spared. Right? There was a baby that was the son of Sayyidina al-Hussein, who was called Ali Saghir. And he was a baby, literally he was a baby. And Sayyidina al-Hussein came out carrying him in front of these Muslims. And the irony was that in this battle, with every prayer time, the Muslims on the other side of the army, they will come and pray behind Sayyidina Hussein. They know he's the Imam. They know it. They know it. And they will pray behind him. And then after prayer, fight him. And that is the craziness that the dunya can bring you to. It's so, it does not make sense. It doesn't make sense. And this is something that's happening. And you think it's this principle of how people, when they say that they celebrate the Prophet, they celebrate the Prophet Zahra, they celebrate, and then the one dunya shows itself, then they're backs. Dunya, they run after dunya. It was literally happening like that. Salat, literally, salat time. They come and pray by Zainal Hussein. After prayer time, fight Zainal Hussein. And they were the ones who cut off the head of Zainal Hussein. Zainal Hussein came out with his feet and the Sahur. And they prayed and they shot an arrow into the brain.
Yeah.
Muslims and still Muslims. And this was prophesied by the Prophet. This will happen to his ummah. And it will continue to happen. And they will continue to attack the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And it's something that Habib Ali will say over and over again, right? That the family of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam will be attacked by the forces of the Dajjal. And to know what he hates the most, he hates the family. And the Dajjal, he hates the family of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And his attack will be on them. And he will get people to run away from them, get people to hate them, get people to call them kafir, to call them all kinds of things. It has happened since the Hussein times. It has happened and it will continue to happen to the end of time. And so when you see this, hear the words of your Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, He has left behind for you what? The Quran and His family. Hold on to them. Hold on to them. Do not let go. You know, and Habib Umar, when he would address us, he would say, I am addressing you and I am addressing those in your loins, those inside of you who have not come out. I am addressing them. Hold on to the way of the family. Hold on to the way of the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And this is those who are inside of you who are yet to come. And inshallah, when they come, they will identify. And in the army of Nabi Isa will be the family of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They'll be the first and the foremost. Habib Abdul Ali, he was the one who said, and he said that some of these people, they were called like the Habayib and so on, people who are weak, having no backbone, because you don't come and take arms, and they don't, and they take the way of peace. From Sayyid al-Bakr al-Muqaddam, like he broke his sword and he pulled out his pen, and he said, this is how we do our jihad, by the pen. And we do our jihad by the pen, by knowledge, spread far and wide. But Habib Abu Qadir said that is our way. The way of the Ba'alawi, that is our way. Subhanallah. And he said, but these people will call us to have no backbone, people who are cowards, people who are whatsoever. But he says, Wallah, Wallah. When it comes to it, and Nabi Isa said, and the Mahdi is risen, you will see who's in the front rows. You will see who's in the front rows. It's because Habib al-Ghali passed away. And Allah is causing for whatever his entire life work, but he was going to open up his book and start reading this book. Allah knew. We had no clue. I think about it. We went from some topic, we know it is the perfect biblical. Because we are talking about end of times, and we're talking about Habib al-Adani, and we are talking about Zahra, and we are in Tanizah. Do not underestimate this majlis. This is done in the ri'ayah. It is done in the care and the eye of our mashayikh. It is done in the permission and the care. So inshallah, you say to those in your loins to wake up and listen up. And all my children, all my grandchildren, wake up and listen up. You're still inside of me. Wake up. And wake up and listen to this. Don't you dare let go of the family of Rasulullah. And don't you dare let go of the Quran. Don't you dare let go of the Sunnah. This is the way, inshallah, and the way of Najah, and the way of success, and the end of time. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Now, right, so the first one, mashallah. وجاء السعد بالمولود البكر والحسن المشابه سورة الجد بنصف الشهر من رمضان أوفى على قدر وحال بشر أنجم وجاء المصطفى يسعى سرورا ليحمل سبطه المحبوب باليد وقبله وسماه وهنى عليا والبتول بخير نور. So this is the book of Zainab al-Hassan. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved his two grandsons. And he knew that his two grandsons will be the ones who will carry this message forth to the end of times through their loins and continue. I was talking halfway about Imam Ali bin al-Abidin, right? That he was the only one left, in Karbala. And the reason why he was left and not killed, it would just blow your mind. Basically, there was no good reason. You can think about it, right? There was actually no good reason. Right? What happened when he was sick on that day? He was not well, he was sick, he was in the tent. Right? And he was sick, right? So that the enemies had killed every male member of the family of your prophet. That's why, as Sunnis, we grieve. We grieve that day. The family was massacred. The family of Sayyidina Hussein, he was, if you look into the history of it, Sayyidina Hussein, there was a miscommunication, right? Of what was going on. So he actually went there with the entire family. And actually a warning letter came there to stop him from going, but he listened. And it's all by Allah's taqdeer. By Allah's plan. And of course, all of them, they are shaheed. And they are shuhada. And fi sabilillah, and they are in the highest mountains. It is Allah honoring those that He wants to honor. And Sayyidina Ali al-Abidin, he was sick in the tent. And his sister and a woman were there. And so there's this enemies, they came in, they bashed him. right? And they were going to kill every single male member to ensure no continuation of the family of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They think things are in their hands. They think that men are in their hands. They have killed every person, including a baby they killed, and they are Muslims, and they are Muslims. Right? So Subhanallah, they rushed into the tents. They saw Sayyidina Ali ibn Abidin right there, and his sister or one of the female members threw herself over him to stop them from killing him. And then one of them actually says, "Oh, he's gonna die anyway." And they walked out. It was a split second, seconds. And it wasn't even like a good reason. And then you were saying it wasn't like a reason, why they didn't do it. And Habib Omar mentions this in one of his tafsir, that they think it's in their hands. Nothing is in their hands. Nothing is in their hands. In our time, people might seem that it's so bleak. Like all around us, the facade, the munkar, the corruption, the whatever. It seems like it's not possible for us to escape this. La, the creator of the heavens and the earth is human. Allah, na'am, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You think you can't be righteous in Singapore? Singapore is whose land? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right, Allah. It belongs to Allah. You think you can't be righteous here? You think you can't make a community of righteous people here? You think you can't? It's really you're holding on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's you're holding on to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing is mustahil. Nothing is mustahil by the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No. They left it there. And by Allah's power, he got cured. And by Allah's power from him, now you are literally seeing, and I was saying up to the millions of Zuriya, Mubarak. This is what you call blessed. This is what you call blessed. And that from the one person, with the whole legion of some came down to one man. Sayyidina Ali ibn Abidin, on Sayyidina Al-Hasan al-Hussein. Sayyidina Al-Hasan, there was the explanation to read. To read the explanation to Sayyidina Al-Habib. Sayyidina Al-Hussein to one man. And in his lineage, I came Imam Muhajir, Ahmad bin Isa, whom Allah inspired in him to go to Hadramaut. And from there, the land was fertile. The land, meaning land, the spiritual land. The spiritual land was fertile. Right? And his zuriyah spread far and wide, all over the world. And subhanallah. And one day, Allah wants. Towards the end of time, Habib Ali said, towards the end of time, he will meet. So, he will meet. In Asia, it happened already. It happened in Asia. When the colonists came here, they massacred Ahmadiyya. Massacred. And they killed Ahmadiyya. Yeah, to the point a lot of them treated the Armenians because the Westerners were not here to colonize.
The Western
The Westerners came here not to colonize. The Westerners came here to kill off the family. It's all the force of the Dajjal. It's like a repeat of Musa and Fir'aun. Kill all the baby boys because one of them is going to bring down Fir'aun. Kill all the family off because the Mahdi is going to bring down the Dajjal, Nabi Isa alayhi salam. It's like a repeat. But you can't. Allah's, MashaAllah, Allah has willed it, and it will happen. SubhanAllah. And so the family of Rasulullah Al-Hasan al-Hasan. MashaAllah. That's it. Okay, Alhamdulillah.
Continue and I've been waiting for someone to tell me the start ke belum.
Send to inside the case sudah. And now it will be on the gas.
So you want to close the class? To close the class? No, dah close.
Sorry for more. Sabi ba na?
No, just use the phone.
Oh, but what happened to that?
The last one was
Well,
They didn't answer.